Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the show. This episode is brought to you by The Wellness Paradigm, a holistic health coaching company shifting the way that women understand and heal their bodies. Through bioenergetic testing, functional lab testing, and functional nutrition, we uncover what traditional approaches often overlook, so you can stop guessing, start healing, and finally feel like yourself again. No more one size fits all protocols, just real answers, deep rooted healing, and the clarity and confidence you deserve to feel incredible. It's time to shift the paradigm of women's health. Now, on to our show. Good afternoon slash early morning to you, Mel.
Yes, it is. It is. Thank you
Yes,
for having me.
absolutely. Mel is over there in Bali, just very graciously getting on a call with me very early. But I'm very excited for this conversation. And Mel's story, I think, is going to inspire so many of you, activate you, and I think you're going to walk away with some really good goodies here. But Mel is the CEO of Lifestyle Industries, which is a digital growth agency that specializes in ecosystem automation. And she has built multiple six and seven figure businesses and now lives her dream life in Bali with her daughters and really teaches other people how to do the same. So I would love to
Wow.
hear a little bit more on, your story, how you got into this. And I know that we'll kind of take it from there. So
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you for having me. I know this is going to be, our conversation before you hit record was getting juicy. So this is going to be fire. But a little bit about me. I started in the online space. I think we just did the maths. I think it was like 11 or 12 years ago now. And I was mentioning how fast it's gone, and it literally feels like a blink of the eye. But there was a lot of pain before I kind of got to where I am now. And when I started online, I was literally building someone else's dream in a, 9 to 5. I dropped my babies to daycare in the morning. They were still in their pajamas, and I picked them up, the last person walking through the door at night. And for me, I actually didn't know that the online space existed. I had no idea that you could work online. I'd come from a lineage of poverty mindset, you could say, with my family, and I didn't know what was possible. So when I kind of fell over the opportunity to work online, which was actually in network marketing, I'd heard of Tupperware and, all of these things. And I was like, there is no way in hell, because I saw my mum having the parties in the kitchen, talking about plastic boxes. And I just thought, like, there is no way in hell I'm doing that. Like, no way. And then when I actually kind of got the green light to do business my way, online, I thought, well, yeah, it was backed by a product that made total sense to me. And I just went, yeah, like, I'd seen a girl doing it, and she wasn't a rocket scientist. So I was like, I'll give it a go. And I literally joined the online space because I got sick to death of seeing her have coffee with her friends. That was it. That was it. That was like, because I wasn't able to do that. I was at work every single day. Weekends was then sorting the house and kids and, trying to somewhat be present. And yeah, that's kind of how it got started. And I had no idea what I was doing. Not zilch. I mean, like I just mentioned, I didn't even know the online space was possible to earn money. So, I really did start from ground zero. But, I guess I stepped into being a student straight away. So that for me was kind of where the journey started.
I love that you said that too, is like stepping into being a student because that's hard, is to go back
Yeah.
into a mindset where you aren't so familiar. You have to get uncomfortable. I think you'll probably tap on this, but being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, it's a lot about being uncomfortable. Um,
Yeah.
and so how did you kind of channel that sort of energy into what you do now? Like, did you see certain gaps in
Mm.
the industry? Did you kind of just get a bigger fire under you? Like what?
Yeah. So look, I was in network marketing for maybe, I don't know, 2 years. I hit the top of the company very, very quickly. If I'm given the blueprint, I'll follow it. So that was, the first piece of the puzzle was I strived because I was actually striving for something outside of myself. And this is where that energy piece comes in. Was I was like, oh yeah, but when I reach the top, yeah, but when I, an NMD, which was the position I was going for. So there was a lot of healing that was happening along the way because, I was chasing things external to myself. I was And the funny thing is when I hit the top of the company, I remember that day getting the phone call from corporate to say, yep, you've done it. And I remember thinking like, well, is that it?
Yeah.
Like, where's the marching band? And, like, where's the Rolls Royce and, all the things. And the top position actually looked very different to what I had envisioned it looking like. And so did the income, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I guess that was my first somewhat face down moment where I was like, this is like, are you kidding me? I just literally sold my soul, basically. That's what it felt like. I'd bought into the dream of time freedom, but that was very different to what I was sold. And I think that's a key piece with network marketing is like I don't believe that there is a full freedom attached to it because you are constantly hiring, you are constantly bringing people in, people are stopping and starting, and it's definitely a hamster wheel, and I think more people need to share about that. So basically, what happened then? I was actually in a really abusive relationship at the time. Again, how crazy, obviously, my energy seeking, external validation, and getting caught in a situation that I lost control of really, really quickly. And I didn't realize fully. I mean, obviously, I knew, when there were situations that I was stuck in that I just thought, oh my God, like what is happening right now? But I couldn't get out. I couldn't get out, and I was kind of in a really dangerous situation. And it was in that moment where everything kind of fell apart. I went through monstrous trauma, and that's where I went, you know what, like something has to change now, and that next chapter has to start now. And we lost everything, absolutely everything. So I still had my network marketing business, but I wasn't paying attention to it really because there was so many crazy things going on in my life, and everything started to go backwards. And I didn't even have a fork at one stage. We'd lost everything in the house, everything was gone. And it was in that moment, though, that an absolute, demon was born because, as a mum, I kind of went like, there is no way that my kids are going to suffer through this. Like they already had. But, there's no way that there's going to be any more suffering. And, thank God for that little business, because it got us back on our feet again. But in that moment, I realized like there are so many women struggling in so many different scenarios. It doesn't have to be domestic violence. It's just confidence. It could be, the family that are not supporting them with their decisions, whatever it is. Like there's so much energy out there that's not pushing you to be better, and it's not pushing you to go into that next chapter. And I thought to myself, like, why is it that somebody can give me a blueprint and I'll go and execute, but that same blueprint is given to another woman and she doesn't get the results? And I became obsessed with this. And I believe that there's, a lot of things that need to happen along the way. And a lot of those things are energy shifts. A lot of those things are you embodying who you need to be long before you are her. And I thought, if I can back that with the exact strategy and systems, then this is, game over basically. And what I realized is when I built the network marketing business, I bought into the dream of time freedom and, choose your check and all the things that really lit me up. Laptop lifestyle was another one. And, that wasn't what I got. So what I realized was the business model that I had was not necessarily scalable. And people go, well, yeah, it is. My leader's doing $1 million. Yeah, but it's not scalable without you.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I really wanted to create. So I saw a huge gap in the market. And that gap was that I never, ever myself had found somebody that could take me from social media, showing me how to blow it up on socials, through to systems, being able to hold the leads, through to the sale, being able to close the lead. And, over the years, I became that person through what I'd learned through, building business online, building large teams, leadership, all of those things. And I just thought, you know what, I'm going to go for it. And I opened my agency, and, the rest is kind of history now. But yeah, I wanted to become the first person that I knew of that was able to take people along the whole journey, because I don't think there's anything worse than having, I got a coach here and I got a coach there. And like for me, Like that's a lot of energy to hold. For me, I like, and I've done it, I've invested in so many different areas and I came out of it feeling so like wrung dry,
Mhm.
because I was like, I got to hold the energy of this sales guy, he's teaching me how to do sales, but what he's teaching me isn't working, or like whatever it was, right? We had some pretty massive, flop investments. And yeah, I just thought I really just want to be able to put my energy into one person that I can absolutely love, that's kind of going to be like my business bestie, I guess you could say. And, I just want to work with that person. And I never found that person. So I just became really. And that's kind of how this journey started and, a bit of the process as to how we got here.
I love what you said about, as somebody who has invested in multiple different containers too, I know a lot of entrepreneurs who listen to our podcast feel the same, right? It's
Mhm.
like you have one person that is very on the energy world. Great. It's like
Yeah.
all high vibes, right? And then you have people that
Yeah.
go in their masculine where it's all numbers
Mhm.
systems, right? And it's beautiful to see this blend because they're really, especially as a female, I believe needs to be this blend of both worlds to really
Yeah.
feel in alignment. I'm sure
Yeah.
you see a lot of women burn out, or feel burnt out, and things
Mhm.
aren't working, and a lot of it isn't strategy. It's also the energy behind it, and
Yeah.
strategy. They're
Yeah.
trying
Yeah.
to do things somebody else's way. So I mean,
Yeah, yeah. I think also like burnout is a choice, if I'm going to be honest. Like, and that might trigger a few people, but burnout is a choice, and that choice comes from lack of systems. And
yeah.
if you've got really strong systems, you can fall into your feminine. And, I personally found this myself. I would say, 8 of the 11 or 12 years was you couldn't get any more masculine, right? I was just building, building, building. I don't care what's going on around me, and I'll speak about sacrifices. But it wasn't until I really dialed in the systems and really had the team to back me that I was able to really slow down and my nervous system was able to take a rest. So I think that it is about the what's going on in the back end. It's not. And I think, for me, somebody who never understood feminine energy, right? I was always in my masculine, coming from the life that I had, child abuse, broken families, like literally, Jenny from the block, I guess you could say. It was really like I didn't understand this feminine energy thing. I was like, how do I get that? Like, what does that look like? And, for me, it actually looked like weakness as well because it had been sold to me that way, where it was like, you just need to slow down and, wear pink dresses. And I was seeing people on my stories, like dancing around and, half making love to themselves on their stories. And I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, this is not me, right? And that's kind of how feminine was sold to me, and that's why straight away I was like, I'm good, I'll stay where I am. Whereas when I actually embodied it and stopped trying to create it, more embody it, the process was very, very different, and it was definitely, oh my God, I feel held. I feel held, and this was such a different piece of the puzzle was, when you feel held, both in yourself and in your business, you can be feminine.
Mhm.
You can have that energy of, slowing down. You can have that energy of doing less. So I think that was such a big lesson for me because I was like, man, like hell, you're getting me in a pink flowy dress. Like it's not happening. My brand, like I can't, my audience would die if they saw me half making love to myself on my stories. Like I can't do this. Whereas I think a lot of women, and I hope people that are listening to this are like, oh my God, I was the same, where it's like, do I have to be half naked on my social media to be feminine? Like, do I have to? And this really, like, I think it stopped me for quite a long time. It turned me off the whole process. But when I realized that it's an embodiment from being held and having the right support, the whole game changed.
I think that's so true because I remember thinking the same as somebody who was hyper masculine, and I'm like, I think feminine was felt weak, right? And
Yeah.
I've had my own personal journey, but yes, sometimes it's like, okay, feminine doesn't need to be all of that touching,
Yeah.
all of that, love that for you.
Yep.
I think part of why you've also been so successful is, you built your brand on who you are authentically too, right?
Yeah.
And not just based off of what other people, want to instill upon you.
Yeah, my brand's very, very different. And, I don't think I actually really struggled with not having anyone to follow online, like, I mean, I'm sure that there's, tattooed women out there that are absolute bosses, but I never really had anybody, I had people that I wanted their level of success, but when it came to building the brand and the edginess and, I really just had to pave the way because I didn't know anybody that I could be like, oh, I'm going to go and check out her content, right? So you're right. Like I really had to, pave the way myself. And, I think if you have a look back on my content, ages back, there still was a feminine energy there. Whereas I was looking at myself and comparing and going, oh, but I'm not like that. And that's feminine, and that's because that woman was like, I'm feminine. This is what feminine looks like. And this is what you need to do if you want to be feminine. And, I think that this is such a big lesson for everybody listening, where it's like, girl, do it your way. Your feminine's going to look like your feminine. My feminine looks like covered in tattoos, wears black all the time. Like that's my feminine, and it's still extremely feminine, and I get again, feminine. It isn't about what you wear, but that was how it was sold to me. It's like, oh my gosh, you've got to be in a bath of bubbles on a Monday at 8 a.m. I'm like, man, I'm in a shitstorm of dishes and school runs, like it doesn't look like that for me. And this again was a huge thing that really I only just the penny, I always knew it, but the penny just dropped recently where it was like, why am I potentially looking at this person when their life doesn't look anything like mine?
Yeah.
She's single. No wonder she's got, $4.7 million in the bank because she's got kids, right? She's doing everything that she wants to do every single day. Again, she hasn't got children. She's traveling all the time, which we're really blessed to do, but let's be real, like it's really not super, super fun with kids. Like, why was I even looking over there? She's not somebody that I need to be modeling or mirroring. Maybe there's some values. Maybe her course is amazing. Maybe there's points that I can take, but her and her brand is nothing like mine. And I think we get so caught in, oh my God, but she's doing so well and I'm not, and it's like she's doing well because maybe she's the only person she's got to think about. And we as mums, it's like, do you know what? Sometimes business has got to be put on the back burner. Sometimes, you know what? We lose people in our freaking DMs because while we were DMing them, things happened, life happened, and we didn't get back to that conversation as quick as what maybe she would have, and I think you just have to be so kind to yourself. But again, it comes back to systems. Everything comes back into the business, into the systems. If you've got smart systems, you're not going to lose those conversations no matter what's happening in your life. So many lessons. We could talk for hours on this.
Literally. I mean, just the identity of being a female business owner with
Mm,
kids, it's so hard to not want to compare yourself to other people
yeah.
while also not limiting yourself because you are a mom too. It's like this
Yeah, exactly.
ground where it's like, yes, this person is, 10 years my,
Mm,
junior, no kids, no marriage. Okay, yeah, she's
yeah.
life's different, but it doesn't also mean I can't achieve those things, but maybe this is a
Yeah.
season for me at the moment, right?
100%. And I think as a solo mum for me, it was when I actually thought to myself, like, you're not a good mum because you do it all.
Mm,
You're a good mom because of the business that you've built and the opportunities that you can give your kids and the things that you've shown them and the person that you became. on the journey, but in saying that, there's been a lot of sacrifices, a lot, and I knew there has to be a sacrifice. If you want to build a big business, there has to be a sacrifice. And I chose to sacrifice the early days where my kids were quite young because I figured, you know what, they're probably not really going to remember. But, even still now, even now with a huge team and we live in Bali and we have the dream life, there's still sacrifices. There's still times where I'm like, I can't be present right now. I have to do X, Y, Z, and I think another level, another devil. I think a lot of people think you're going to get to being a multi-million-dollar earner and everything's just going to be peaches and cream. It's like you get to being a multi-million-dollar business owner, and girl, you've already started 14 businesses while you made your coffee in your brain. Right. And this is where we're at now. Like we're just about to launch our fourth, which instantly will be a multi-million-dollar company. And it's like, you don't just build one usually, you're on to doing a million other things or collaborating or, so it's like, there's still going to be sacrifices as you go. But yeah, you're right. Like, I think just being really kind to yourself, but also set yourself up for success, with the way that your business model is built, the way that your team is built, the way that you manage that team as well. I know that you've met Fiona and she's just an absolute godsend in my business where I needed to have somebody that it wasn't me. But it wasn't, the people doing the things. I needed someone to overlook everything. Like, you need to be checking in on me that I did the thing, right? And having that person is just, oh my God, it really takes the pressure off. Whereas I think a lot of business owners don't hire because they're actually still in a scarcity mindset. Like, well, I don't want to pay somebody. Like, oh, but we don't earn enough to, and it's like you're never going to. If you don't give a little bit away, you're never, ever, ever going to make any more.
Oh gosh, I mean, when new, practitioners or, coaches come up to me, I'm like, just hire the VA for 5 hours a week. You have the budget, or, create it. You will find it because it is the
Yeah.
biggest help, especially as you mentioned. I know for me, it's like somebody to check in on me, and be like, did you do that? Oh yeah. And just keep
Yeah.
organized because I'm the idea person where it's like, oh, look at all of these cool things. My VA is like,
Yeah.
Shannon, we need to finish this.
Yeah, yeah. Someone to keep you in line. And I think, again, there's this perceived idea that because we're CEOs, we have it all together. Like,
No.
I don't know who made that one up. Probably the same person that made up taxes. But, like, that's not true. Like, it's not true. You just because you're a CEO doesn't not mean at all that you have it all together. And more so, we need people to hold and help us hold what we've created because we've created things that are huge and far bigger than ourselves. And, this is what CEO and leadership looks like is somebody that can build something far bigger than themselves that actually needs an army of people to hold it because it's bigger than her.
So true. I think sometimes when you're in the grind of day to day, we forget that, right?
Yeah.
And, I would love for you to tap a little bit more into, you mentioned systems a lot, right?
Yeah.
On what this really means and looks like for at least the
Sure.
style that you use, and also what you feel
Yeah.
is the biggest bottleneck for,
Yeah.
business owners in their kind of growth phase.
Yeah. I think, firstly, what I see a lot of is people will go, oh, I need a website, right? So they go over and grab it off Wix because it's free. Yeah. And like, why would I want another subscription? Again, be really mindful of the scarcity, poverty mindset. So off they go, they get their website, and then they're like, oh, damn, I'd really like to start sending some emails out. Okay, cool. Let's go and get MailChimp. Okay, over here. And then they're like, oh, it's time to build a course. I'm so excited. Okay, Kajabi, let's go and get that one. Right. And then what happens is you end up with this duct taped shitstorm. There's only one way to put it, right? Where you've used Zapier that many times to connect everything together, right? And it kind of, for those watching on video, it's
On the
like
same here.
this. Yeah. And you keep getting errors sent to you every single day from Zapier. Like, this is not scalable. Yeah, but what's happened is it's you only know what you know. Yeah, and I had no idea until I had an idea. And like a scalable system, I mean, for us, we now own a software that does this, but a scalable system is I believe to be true, a software where you can do everything in one place. Because why wouldn't you want to train internally one person than having 25 different, people wearing the hat?
Mhm.
But also, it's easier to keep tabs on what's going on inside your business because you've got a snapshot, you've got a desktop or dashboard that you can see what's going on. You can see your emails, you can see how many new subscribers you got this week. You can see it all in one place. But also, when you're in your early days of business, this is where you need to invest in systems even more so. With people like, oh, but when I'm earning, I'll build a system. Babe, you're never gonna. You're not gonna, and if you do, you're gonna be on this constant hamster wheel of, ebbs and flows, right? And you're gonna have that feast and famine happening in your business where 1 month is great and 1 month is not. And again, you're bleeding profit.
Mhm.
And this is the time where we want to be banking as much as we possibly can, right? To build that nest egg, build that dream that we're building is going to be about how your business holds it. And your systems are absolutely paramount to have them set up early because imagine building a house on freaking quicksand,
Mhm.
and I don't understand why, people don't see their business the same. Is that if you don't have really, really strong foundations, being systems and smart systems that are going to scale you, you're going to do this 10 times over. And I don't know about you, but we're in this to make money fast. We're in this to make impact fast. We're in this to live in Bali fast, right? No one started their business and went, yeah, no, look, I'm okay for this to happen 4 times over. I'm going to have to start again and get there in about 10 years. Like, are you kidding me? People want it now. They want it now and they want to see the money coming in. So, why would you not be doing it exactly how it needs to be done in order to create that outcome? So we're really huge on educating people because if you don't know, you don't know, right? And maybe there's a lot of people listening now going, "Oh my God, I didn't even think of that," But it's like you need a scalable system and you
Mhm.
need a blueprint that is going to set you up to be like, do this, do that, go here, click there, put this in place, and voila. Oh, look at that. You made sales, rather than being like scrape and beg and, follow up manually. And, like it doesn't have to be like that. And what really I get my clients to do is, I ask them questions like, okay, if I gave you, right, you saying to me you want more clients, yeah, because that's what everyone wants. I want to earn more money. I want more clients. Okay, cool. I'm going to give you 100 clients right now, like right now, and they're all going to come in within a 5 minute period. Yeah, you're just going to be like notifications going off insane. What's going to happen? And they're like, oh my God, yeah, right? You shouldn't have that response of like, oh my God, with pure fear on their face. It should be like, you know what? I think we'd be okay. I mean, maybe my website might time out because there's so many people coming in at one time, but we should be good because my landing page is set up so they can jump onto the landing page, they can go straight through, make their purchase, which is going to fire them the emails, it's going to tag them, it's going to put them into my CRM, which is going to start their sales pipeline. Yeah, we should be good, right? 100 people in a 5 minute period should be okay. Because if you want to build a big business, girl, that's how you want to be thinking.
Mhm.
Because when you attach your business to Facebook ads and when you have a campaign that absolutely starts firing, that could be what this looks like for you, and you want to build your business now as if it's already looks like that. Because if you do, not much is going to break. And I'll share a quick story. I did a speaking gig for a huge, huge company, and I did 3 1 hour sessions, and I taught them how to basically, if you're coming online, and this was in high ticket sales, what do you need to do? Where do you start? How do you build a brand? What do you need to do on social media? All of these things, and they absolutely loved it. And 20 people signed up for a 15K program immediately on the back end of like, hey, just in the comments, who's keen to hit go on us helping you build out your systems. And 20 people were like, oh my God, yes, let's go. Firstly, that was like $250,000 that came through the company in a few days, right? Because everyone was like, yep, 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 I'm in. And again, that's part of that process of knowing your brand. But also back then, right? Very early on into setting up my agency, I didn't really have the things set up yet. I knew what they needed to look like, but because of my situation and obviously just getting back on my feet, I was still getting to it. So we held it just, it almost killed me, but I learned so much from that. And it was exactly that was if I had have asked myself prior, oh my God, I'm about to do this talk. And what happens if 100 people or 20 people or 50 people come on board? Immediately remembering that we're building our systems, right? So a lot of the stuff that we do is very hands-on, very done for you style. What's going to break? I probably would have had all the answers of the things I needed to focus on before I went and did that training session. So I've learned a lot along the way, and I think using your own business as a test dummy and a guinea pig is really important. I think there's a lot of coaches out there at the moment that are using other people's businesses as their guinea pig. So for us, we tried, tested, and measured it ourselves. I then went and I had an idea on Australia Day to build a product, right? Completely away from the online space and built this product, just based off what I wanted to see happen. And I implemented the same process with this company where we engineered, manufactured, and imported the product. I walked into one of the biggest super retail chains, similar to like Costco over here, and I blew it up in their office and I was like, you need this. Like, you need this. Every Aussie on Australia Day needs this thing, right? And they were like, oh my God, we love it. And they bought every single container that we ever created. And I had just put the same process in place for this company that I did, that I should have, right, for the first one. And I almost didn't have for the second. And now the third, I was like, I got this dial now. And bang, 6 figures within a few days, right? And off that business went. And now for this fourth company we're about to launch, I've literally, like, everything is dialed, everything is built, everything is absolutely Mickey Mouse before we hit go on even opening the doors. And we've basically sold this it's a software. We basically sold this software globally to really big hitters. So it'll be a multi-million-dollar company the second the doors open. And the only reason, and I don't share this to impress you but to impress upon you, the only reason that that's going to happen is because I learned the hard way that I almost couldn't hold it before.
Yeah.
And whereas people go, oh, like, I'll do a website later. Like now, 10 years ago, it didn't matter. It didn't matter if you didn't have a website. It didn't even matter if you didn't have Facebook, right? But now, if you don't have a digital footprint, it is very dangerous. And there's a lot of coaches out there at the moment that are like, you don't even need, like, you don't need a sales page. You don't need a landing page. Like, fuck yes, you do. So badly, you do. And I'll explain why. Firstly, your digital footprint. If I search you and I don't find you, I'm going to think you're fake. Yeah, I'm going to think you're a scam. If I search you and I don't find you, this is not going to tick that authority piece. Well, she's not as big as she says she is, right? If I search you and I can't find you, your brand doesn't have pull. In my heart, your brand hasn't got pull because I'm like, well, where is she then? There's no website. There's no, yeah. I want to see your reviews. I want to see the video testimonials. I want to see all these things because this is the buying trend at the moment. Everybody's been ripped off. Everybody's been ripped off. And now people are wanting to have a experience with you first. So maybe a challenge, maybe a low ticket offer. They're wanting to dip their toe first and test the waters, then they're happy to spend in full. So I see a lot of people saying, oh my God, like, do people even still buy high ticket? Oh, hell yeah, they do. But not before they had an experience of some type with you. But the other thing also is with payment gateways like Stripe, if you set up a company where you are pulling in, money and they come and check you out and there's no website, 9 times out of 10, that account will be shut down.
Mm.
So again, it can cause so many problems down the track by not having those systems built, but also building things like websites and, all the bits and pieces that you need now, you're getting all that traffic. And over time it's building and your SEO is building and you're building on Google, you're starting to rank, all of these things are happening in the back end. And if you want a multi-million-dollar company, like I said, you need to be her now. And if you're her now, and you're thinking, okay, how does she operate and what does she do? Has she got a website? Yes, she does. Has she got all of her sales pages and landing pages built and her systems set up? Yes, she does. So operate from that space now. And from an energy perspective, if you are holding the stance of somebody that's already created and achieved what it is that you want to achieve, and you're holding down the fort already, I mean, what's going to happen? You're going to be her. You're going to become her. You're going to have that life. You're going to create those things. And I think that people are like wanting to do after. And it's like the do comes before the create. Like you got to do the thing to create the life. You got to do the website to create the system. You got to do, like you've got to go and do it first. And this is why I think a lot of people are feeling really lost online right now and are not getting the results that they desire, is because they've been sold this quick fix life and this quick fix bank account that you're going to create a $20,000 a month in 8 days if you just do this challenge and invest with this coach, right? And nobody is really talking about the really unsexy parts of business, which is the systems and how you need to be set up in order to create the millions or the lifestyle that you desire.
So true. So, so important to hear.
Mm.
I love me some good systems.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know if I really answered that, but yeah, like systems, they are, choose the software, choose how you're going to build this, like with your website and your landing pages and your courses and funnels and whatever. But it does really come down to a smart offer suite. Yeah, if you don't have a smart offer suite, being your value stack, right? The way that comes in, and really quickly for people listening, that is low ticket. Your low ticket should be a funnel, and there should be 2 to 3 sales in that funnel, upsells and downsells. Start with downsells, because why would you go to upsells if you haven't proven that you can downsell first, right? So start with the downsells. Then you're moving into your like lowish ticket, 200 to 500. That's like a do-it-yourself course or something like that. Then you're moving into your 2,000 to 5,000 kind of area. This is where they get a little bit of you. Okay, they get none of you for the low ticket, none. There's no calls, there's nothing included. Then you got your 2,000 to 5,000. Maybe it's like a call a week in a group setting. Again, they're not getting all of your time. Then you're going into your higher ticket. So for us, it jumps from the 5,000 to say, 15K. And this is where they're getting a lot more time, a lot more hands-on, a lot more strategy in that process. So your value stack, your offer suite, you need to be able to create. You don't want to go and create a million different things. You still have 2 core offers, or we have 2 core offers, and all roads lead to Rome. Yeah, so if they come into the little tiny low tickets, it's because it's seeding them for the things that they need to have in order to even be inside the larger container. So what we find is that people literally come through that pathway where they're like, I just want to dip my toe, and then, oh, I might do this. All right, I'll do the course by myself. And then, okay, yeah, help me build out some of my systems. But I don't want to do the big program because that's really scary. So let's just dip our toe into the little one and we'll build a few little systems. And then once they see what they see with the systems, they're like, okay, let's hit go. So I think that that's really key, is your offer suite as well. It doesn't matter how pretty your system is. If your offer suite doesn't marry into that, you're missing a piece of the puzzle.
Very true. So true. And I think if somebody was listening to this and they were like, well, I just want to know a little bit more on what she is talking about, what you do, where can they connect with you to shoot you DM, check out a site?
Yeah. Yes, I mean, any of the platforms, Facebook, Instagram, but also my website, which is www.lifestyleind.com. And there's a little button on there that says book a strategy session, which is completely free, no strings attached. And it's just like, let us just have a chat. Let's see where you're at and what you're doing and what you want to build. And you'll walk away with more on that free session than you probably have with half of the coaches you've invested in. And if you decide that you want to go ahead and build out systems, then we're here to support you. And if you decide it's not for you, then that's okay okay as well. We support you anyway. So we're really about turning strangers into friends and friends into family. And for me, it's like it's got to be a full body fuck yes from you. Otherwise, it's not from us, you know? So yeah, we would love to meet some of your audience.
I love that. Yes, that intuitive, like this gotta be a hell yeah. Um,
Yeah, it really does. It really does. And you know, the energy that you hold and the person that you become in that process is the one that you desired to have at the start of your business as well. It's like this is the process to becoming her.
hmm We can have a whole conversation about
Oh
that as
yeah.
well. But I want to thank you for your time and coming on here and sharing all this wisdom. I know that we could chat for hours about all the other incredible things that you do. But if you guys listening found this interesting, want to explore a little bit more on who Mel is, what she's doing, go check out her website. I will put all of her socials and website down below in the show notes so you guys can check that out. But otherwise, Mel, thank you for being here.
You're
Listeners,
so
of
well.
course, thank you so much for being here as well. And we will catch you guys on the next show.
Amazing.